All right, guys. Zach Evanish doing a solo episode of the Strong Life podcast, drinking a little bit of coffee from the local convenience store up the street. And these guys are so nice up there all the time that I just want to go and buy a $2 cup of coffee. There's also another place in my town that's more expensive. And also, the people are so nice that it just makes me want to support small business. And one of the kids we've trained for a very long time works there. So sometimes I like to do those things just for the experience. But it's Saturday morning. I've been up since 6 a.m. One of my little dogs woke me up early, and I was like, man, I'm getting up and I'm doing the damn thing. Because as I've said to some people, life, it's exciting. I'm excited for it. So sometimes I'm up at 4 a.m. and I just want to I'm like, man, just let's go. Let's get it going. Let's get fired up here. So, fired up to have a great day. And what I want to talk about in this solo episode of the Strong Life podcast is one of my favorite movies, which I talk about all the time, Rambo First Blood, and how I started thinking about the correlation of that movie to a business and how it could impede your business when you think like Rambo. Because many times in the past, I've said, I'm like Rambo in First Blood, like kicking ass, kicking everybody's ass and kicking ass, taking names. But at the end of the movie, Rambo has to surrender himself. And then Rambo First Blood Part Two, he's in like some sort of like a military prison camp. And so ultimately, he loses that battle because he does it alone. Now, a lot of things we're going to be discussing at the Underground Strength Conference, which is coming up, brought to you by Joo Fuel. Make sure you guys check out Joo Fuel, jockofuel.com. We use the Jocko milk protein, the ready to go drinks, creatine, greens, joint warfare. I use it all. And I have the protein powder that my son and I both drink. Sometimes my daughter does also. She likes to make smoothies. And I always say, you got to put a little bit of Jocko milk protein in there. You need the protein. Um, but I also send my son to school. I've said it before with chicken and rice in a thermos, or it might be, steak and rice, steak potato, steak and some pasta, gluten-free pasta. But I also send him a ready to go Jocko milk to get that extra protein, and it makes a massive difference when you are pushing the protein. One thing if I change this at the underground, speaking of Jocko Fuel, we don't have air conditioning, and my gym hits like 94 degrees in the summer. It's very tough. If we get air conditioning and could have a refrigerator that could handle such heat and wouldn't break down, I would just stock up with Jocko Molks ready to go and let the athletes purchase it. When I filmed with Joe Riggio, the videos for Underground Strength Conference, which was on a previous podcast, Joe, I said at the front desk, I said, Joe, what happened to all like the smoothies and everything? He said, dude, it was like destroying our plumbing, all the chia seeds and all this stuff that you put into it. It was like destroying the plumbing. He's like, now we sell everything ready to go drinks. He's like, it saves us headaches, makes us more money. We don't have somebody working the front desk. And when I had the first underground strength gym, if any of you had been there, the gym next door made these protein shakes, and they were selling protein shakes like every 5 minutes, $6, $7 protein shakes. And guess what our athletes did? After every training session, there'd be five, six, seven, eight of our athletes next door buying their shakes. So every day, every hour on the hour, they're making probably $100 from all of our kids easily, right? If we've got four groups a day and there's five kids going and it's $35, between five, six, seven of them, you're looking over $100, 2, 3 days a week. You're looking at several $1,000s a month. And if you're like, yeah, that doesn't sound like a lot. Well, I explain to people, working as a strength coach in a high school, my annual raise is $500 a year. Right? That comes out to $50 a month. That comes out to $12.50 a week. I'm a big math and reverse engineer and breakdown guy. So what I'm saying is, get yourself Jocko Fuel, become a wholesaler. Hit me up with an email. I could introduce you to the right people and start getting your people strong. All right. Now, back to Rambo and, of course, undergroundstrengthcon.com. We're 4 weeks out. We're going to have the Underground Strength Games. It's going to be like an old school strength carnival challenge. There's going to be prizes, of course, from our sponsors. And we've got sponsors like Sornex, Intech Strength, Ivanco, Macefit from our guy, Frankie DeMeo, who's been probably one of the early days supporters of Underground Strength Academy. He's been a member of Underground Strength Academy since 2004. I launched it in 2005, February of '05. We're coming up on 20 years. I started writing content in the summer of 2004. And so all of our sponsors are going to be donating gifts and prizes. And go to undergroundstrengthcon.com, get signed up, stop struggling with business. And I think to myself, what has listening to more podcasts, as much as Strong Life Podcast is badass, reading books, and just simply not getting away from your computer or your phone done for your business? You've made little strides, tiny, tiny little strides. Well, think about strength training. I think about my early days, Diamond Gym, bodybuilding. As soon as I got to Diamond Gym, man, did my training, thanks to my training partners and everybody that surrounded me in the room at Diamond Gym, because everywhere you looked, somebody was a competitor. And if they weren't a competitive bodybuilder, they were competing against one another. My entire being elevated. I started just everything, my nutrition, my training intensity. You didn't want to miss. You didn't want to let down the people at Diamond Gym. That's what Underground Strength Con is going to do for you. It is going to skyrocket. It's going to literally put you in a rocket ship and send you to the stratosphere. Because like the movie Rambo First Blood, when you do things alone, you might be able to move quickly and be nimble and agile at first. But when you don't have a team, now you start struggling because you are doing everything. You're on the floor. Now you're the chief marketing officer. You're also, the chief financial officer. And instead of being locked in and great at a select few things, you're being good at a lot of things. And then you start to struggle. And then you start to slip. And then you start to really elevate your stress levels because you are doing everything. And certainly there are some solopreneurs in the strength and conditioning world that could do it. Gunnar Peterson is a rare one, but he strategically placed his business in Hollywood or Beverly Hills for several decades. Now he's in Franklin, Tennessee, which I believe is the most affluent area of Tennessee, possibly one of the more affluent areas in the country. He strategically placed himself, not just location wise, but also brand wise, marketing wise, where he's the guy. And if you want to train with him, it's extremely expensive. It's a high ticket. And then he's got another guy that works with him. I doubt that guy has the same price, but Gunnar strategically placed himself where he is viewed as the guy that you're going to be paying more for. He is the expert with 50 plus years experience. And I remember Ryan Lee talking about this in one of his CDs of the month. Let me take a little sip of my coffee, kids. I'm almost at the end here. And when I first got into the business, I purchased everything from Ryan Lee. I got inside of his membership sites. He had 2 membership sites. Okay. That's 2 things right there. 2 monthly memberships. He had I can't even remember the name of it. It was a newsletter and it came with a CD of the month if you took the VIP option. Of course, I did that. I would play his CD of the month over and over and over again in my truck. I remember having a Nissan Pathfinder, and I couldn't wait to get the new newsletter and CD of the month. And as soon as that newsletter came, I was writing, I was highlighting, and then I immediately took action. And then CD of the month, I'd be driving, I'd have ideas, I'd be commuting to and from my elementary school, and I was training athletes out of the house. And then eventually I opened up the first underground strength gym location in 2007. And so I spent about 5 years in my 1 year in my parents' house, about 4 years in my wife and I's first home. but I was a freaking action taker and I had skin in the game, which I remember saying to myself, okay, this thing's costing you $97 a month. You need to do something to earn 10 times ROI to win. And that was a little game that I played kind of within my own mind for business, is that whatever my investment was, I gave myself 30 days to make it 10 times ROI. Another example, and I'll get back to Ryan Lee because he was the guy holding live events. I remember telling my wife that I'm going to go to a $10,000 seminar for a weekend in New York City. And it was the Genius Network that Joe Polish held. He called it the 25K Mastermind. But one weekend a year, he opens it up for non-members and just called it the 10K weekend, the 10K seminar. And my wife was like, whoa. I said, listen, babe, I'm going to take this $10,000 investment and I'm not just going to turn it into 100 grand. I'm going to turn it into $1 million. As soon as I signed up and put my credit card down for the $10,000, I immediately created essentially a new aspect of my business. And the reason why is skin in the game. And I created a mastermind. I created a mastermind getaway, like an experience. And I think like within that week, I made something like 26 or 30 something $1,000 because of the mastermind and the experience and opening up another certification. And again, why? Skin in the game. So what do we do all day on the phone? And look at my kids there. Usually your screensaver is the most important people, person, beings in your life. Sometimes it's your dogs. Okay. If you're not married with kids, it's your dogs. And you have to ask yourself, what would they feel if I let them down with my effort, with my actions? And I remember a big reason of why I was so inspired to take action was not just because I had skin in the game. I actually had a nightmare, both literally and figuratively speaking, where my daughter grew up, and here we are. My daughter's 18, and she's doing quite amazing with tennis, with the college she's going to be going to, with her goals. But I remember the nightmare was my daughter would one day say to me, as I was giving her advices about life and going for it and living your dreams, and she would say, why am I listening to you? What great thing have you ever done? You have never done anything great. You're a fraud. Don't tell me what to do if you've never done it yourself. And my inspiration was to never let my kids down, was to inspire my kids. Now, my kids may not agree with me all the time. That's what kids do with parents. And sometimes you got to rough them up a little bit, beat them up a little bit. Just kidding. Just kidding. But do you inspire them? Do you inspire other people? Are you going to leave your mark on this earth with what you're doing? And when I think about how I was operating my business for a very long time, I was like, man, I am Rambo First Blood of strength and conditioning. I am Rambo First Blood of the underground. And what I've been doing is for these 20 something years is building coaches at the underground who learn and leave. They learn and leave. Why? Because I'm always coaching. I'm coaching twice a week. I'm coaching once a week. I'm covering for you. I'm in, I'm out. I said, man, we've got coaches getting hired by other private coaches full time. We have coaches getting hired by Division I universities, by military. Do I love it? Yes. What's not good was this summer, we had 5 coaches and one coach needed somebody to cover and nobody could cover. And I said, you know what? This is not a fucking team. This fucking disappoints me. How can we have 5 people and nobody could cover for you? Well, in reality, everybody has another job, number one. Number two, we didn't have a team. It's all about them. It's all about, I cover for me, but I won't cover for you. Okay. I need to make more money, but I'm not going to, produce and help grow the business. Well, done with that. Let's take a little sip of, let's finish the coffee. I'll probably have another cup of coffee later today. Probably. And so I said to myself, that's it. We're going to hire somebody. I'm going to talk about this in depth at the Underground Strength Conference. And I took myself off the floor this summer. And now we've got a great coach. I don't want to say our team is like indomitable and perfect because I'll tell you what, who's got a killer team? My boys at Varsity House Gym. They've got where we do the Underground Strength Con, we're going to be at the main Varsity House Gym headquarters. Then they have satellite facilities. And not long ago, I had multiple locations of the Underground Strength Gym, but we had some shady stuff happen. And I'll share those things at Underground Strength Con, where I lost business because of partnering with the wrong people and not getting the coaches enough opportunity because I was always too involved. So I'm going to discuss that. And so you got to ask yourself, lessons from Rambo First Blood. Are you Rambo? Most people are not tough, to be honest with you. And I'm grateful for my wrestling coaches. I'm grateful for wrestling and all the training I did because it made me tough. Because I always say, if my coaches all leave, I could still be a full-time strength coach at the high school and run the underground alone. I'm always ready to do it alone, but you just can't grow alone. You can't impact more people. And so I do a lot of the behind the scenes marketing and the behind the scenes kind of building. And now it's allowing us to grow and do things that I never was able to do when I was spending, 2 days on the floor coaching. That being said, I am a strength coach to the core. It is in my heart. It is in my blood. I've said it many times before. I don't play the lottery, but if I won the lottery, I'd still be training athletes twice a week. Okay. I'm sorry. I especially love training wrestlers because they don't need all that fancy bullshit that we're seeing today, all the fake fads and gimmicks. They don't need it. They need to fucking train like Rocky 2, 3, like Rocky 1 through 4. All right. I tell kids all the time, if you kids would start living like Rocky 1 through 4, you would start kicking ass. And I got to tell you, from a strength and conditioning perspective of what I see in athletes today who are not that strong, running would be great. Push-ups, pull-ups, jumping, sprinting, military presses, curls. You start doing those 7 things, we could start getting a lot better athletes. Sprinting, you don't see kids sprinting anymore. Curls, you have to teach high school kids how to do curls. That's crazy. In 3rd grade, I was doing curls. We had weights under our bed, rode our bike to Menlo Park Mall with my brother with our book bags on, crossing Route 1 highway where there were, tales of kids crossing that highway getting killed by cars. You know how scared I was crossing that highway? Scared that somebody from our neighborhood would tell our parents I was crossing that highway. Oh my God. One story was a kid got hit by a car and somebody saw it and they had to like push his guts in his stomach. Those are things we heard. If you cross Route 1, you might die. But we did it to get the weights from Herman's Sporting Goods store. 10-pound plates in the backpack. I think it was 40 pounds. My brother didn't even wait for me. He zipped home. I remember riding our bikes home, going up Grandview Ave. It's this little hill that just kept going and going and going, but it made you tough. And then we had our spin lock barbells. And then we copied workouts from Arnold's Encyclopedia of Modern Bodybuilding, the original one with the most inspiring black and white photos, not the bullshit one of all the, crazy chemical warfare. The new, the upgraded edition is not an upgrade. I don't care what it says on the cover. You get the original, the one that's falling apart. Back to business, back to being Rambo. I love Rambo First Blood. Okay. If I get another big dog, I will name him Rambo. I will. I'm just going to do it. Okay. But again, at the end of Rambo First Blood, it's over. He has to surrender himself to the police. And then he has to go to like that military prison camp, wherever the heck he is, until he gets, I guess, like, man, they put him on another mission. But the bottom line is you can't run your business like Rambo. Now I was just texting the group chat here for Underground Strength Conference. All right. So we've got, you should, and I'm going to tell you, this is another important thing about going to the Underground Strength Conference. You need to get yourself into a group text where people talk shit to each other. Here is the last shit talking when we're saying, hey, you know, Dan Goodman is just a beast at building teams and systems and keeping score of what kind of finances are being made at the gym. So we're like, hey, we got to come up with a better title for Dan Goodman. So here is the title. I wouldn't mind how to get a friend to stop talking about doing a Spartan race, comma, and actually doing a Spartan race presented by Dan Goodman. Oh my God, they shit talked me so bad because I never ran a Spartan race. And Joe DeSena is my bro. He is a close best friend of mine. Joe is one of our speakers on day one at Underground Strength Conference. And so they're like, why have you never done one? I'm like, I do a Spartan race every time I'm with Joe in Vermont. The whole day is a Spartan race. But you give yourself excuses. You start coming up with the green light, why you shouldn't do this, why you shouldn't do that. Listen, excuses are like assholes. Everybody's got one. You got to jump in the fire. And so the Underground Strength Conference is going to pay you back for a lifetime. I think of those early days Ryan Lee conferences. My goodness, they were mind blowing, amazing. Okay. All these coaches that I became great friends with. Some of us built and started businesses together. Many of us did JVs, joint ventures, products together. Back then it was ebooks, DVDs. We did seminars together. Jason C. Brown from Philly was like my bro. We did multiple DVDs together, physical books. We did seminars together. The first seminar we did, we rented a ballroom from a hotel in Edison. And Jason and his business partner, Pamela, they owned a gym together. They brought kettlebells and battle ropes in the back of their car. I had my Isuzu Rodeo and brought sandbags and kettlebells. And we brought them into this hotel, and we're literally in a ballroom where weddings happen. That's how we did it. We rented it. And it was so new that when we demonstrated exercises, or I had some of my athletes come to exercise kettlebell complexes, kettlebell loaded conditioning, people were clapping after we did exercises like they had never seen these things before. But it elevated you because then you became a better coach with your skills. We didn't do any business at that first one, but Ryan Lee's boot camp was all training and business, training and business. And Underground Strength Con is going to have hands-on training. Adam Menner is going to show you, this big buzzword of speed and agility. He's going to show you what true speed and agility is so you could add another element to your business. You could do offsite speed and agility camps. We're going to discuss those things at the end of each day when we have our expert panel. You could ask Adam how to do it. Adam consults with NBA teams, Division I teams, and some of the best high school sporting teams in the country are in that North Jersey area. And guess where they go? Varsity House Gym. Why? Great training. And so you're going to learn how to elevate training and elevate business. The other thing that was so inspiring about the Ryan Lee boot camps that will be the same at the Underground Strength Con is you must get out of your own environment. Here I am, Underground Strength HQ office. Who am I with? Nobody. It's just me and my books. Well, I want to get around people that show me that they are achieving so much more. And it's just a change and a flip and a switch of the mindset. It's a couple of strategic business actions that they're taking. Like, what is the difference between you or me or anybody? And then you got Devin Gage, who's got about 20 gyms, who's on track to open up 100 gyms. What is the difference? Well, let's learn his systems. Let's hear about his marketing. Let's hear how he builds leaders. Let's hear how emotionally he makes decisions when you've got so many gyms. How do you manage that? What happens if one of them goes bad? How do you think like that? Let's learn from the guy that's on track to open 100 gyms and how you could open one gym, a second gym, 3 gyms. It is going to be so dang powerful. You need to rub shoulders and rub elbows with others. When I was in a mastermind group called Strategic Coach, they did not want to do them in New York City. We would go to Chicago. And they said the reason why is you must get away from your day to day operations of business. And there's too many people in the tri state area who, if it was in New York City, they would just show up the day of. They wanted us to show up the day before, have dinner and meetings with people in our mastermind group. Then, after our 1 day mastermind meeting, have dinner and more meetings with other people, and businesses were created and developed. I remember in Chicago being at a meeting, and this guy owned 2 businesses. He owned a landscaping business during the warmer months, snow removal during the colder months. And he said, you know what? I sold my landscaping business. It didn't even snow this year. And I made more money with my snow removal business because of contracts, because I focused. And he's like, I don't actually even work anymore. He's like, I don't even know what I do. He's like, I've got people that answer the phones. I've got people that operate the trucks. I've got team leaders. And how did he learn that? By going to the mastermind group, by learning how to step away and implement systems. Whether you own a gym or not, if you're even in the college sector of strength and conditioning, I don't know how sustainable it is to work those crazy hours. And I'm going to share with you guys something. Yesterday was my daughter's senior day for tennis. Okay. That's her last home match. She still has the county tournament coming up next week, but it's over. I made 99% of her matches. Why? Because I left the college sector, building a team at the underground strength gym, and having the freedom and the flexibility to do those things. And you know what else? When I hire coaches for the underground and they are full time, my goal is always that they have more freedom, more flexibility, more fun, more financial freedom, more money than they would in the college sector. That's the goal. And I'm going to be talking about how we do that. Undergroundstrengthcon.com, brought to you by Joo Fuel. Go to undergroundstrengthcon.com. Look at all of our sponsors. They will have tables, they will have booths. They might be doing raffles and giveaways and prizes. I know we will be raffling off and giving away prizes for the Underground Strength Games. So start training, baby. If you haven't been training hard, you have 1 month to physically prepare. You don't have to enter the Underground Strength Games. Don't be afraid. Do not be afraid. And I'm wearing a Wade's Army shirt, co-founded by my buddy Johnny Wellborn, his wife, Heather DeBruin, who is a New Jersey native. And we will be, Underground Strength Con is November 15th and 16th. I got it on my calendar. Mid-December, we do our fundraiser for Wade's Army and some sort of a Navy SEAL foundation. And we do that in mid-December as a deadlift challenge. Okay. I've been doing a fundraiser for cancer since the first month of opening the Underground Strength Gym physical location in 2007. And when I started the Underground in Manasquan, which around about the time of Underground Strength Con will be about 13-year anniversary. I signed the lease December 1st, something like that, basically a month after Hurricane Sandy. And so I see all this stuff going on with the hurricane. I saw it firsthand how it can obliterate a town, obliterate. And so once I opened up the Manasquan location, we started adding a military foundation component to our fundraiser. So we always do a joint fundraiser. So anyway, team, undergroundstrengthcon.com. Let's see if I could pull up a winner for the 5-star review. I'll pull it up right here on podcasts. So we go to shows and I look for Strong Life Podcast. There we go. We're at 588 5-star reviews. We need 600 reviews by the end of October. So we need 12 more. Okay. October 3rd. And today is, I think, today is the 12th. We can't have one review every 8 to 10 days. That's horrible. 5 stars. I love listening to the podcast while on my lunch going for a walk. Some episodes are short and packed full of useful information. Zach keeps things simple for everyone to understand and the useful information he's giving, and it's easy to retain and make small adjustments to your daily life, workout, diet, etc. 5 stars, Jersey strong. Okay, from Richie 990. Jim Beach, Edinburgh. I read this one September 25th. I like this one. I'm not I need better, stronger, like punch to the head type 5 star reviews. Jim Beach, wrestling coach, Edinburgh, the program. Zach Evanish pours his heart into everything he does, including this podcast. If you're looking for fads or quick fixes, this podcast is not for you. If you want time tested, proven methods from someone who's seen and done it all in the strength world, then this podcast is for you. You're going to get cold, hard truths with no shortcuts. That is a kick-ass podcast. Love to see it. Thank you, Jim Beach. UndergroundStrengthCon.com. If you want discount codes, it's in the Facebook group for our certified coaches, and it's on the forum of UndergroundStrengthCoach.com. And it's also on the forum for my Train Heroic programs, Gladiator Strong and Dad Strong. I'm out of here. Underground Strength Con brought to you by Joo Fuel, JooFuel.com. We'll see you guys soon. And let's crush 5-star reviews. Next time I'm reading 5-star review, I want a winner. I want somebody who's a winner. And that winner will get let's go with 3 months to the Underground Strength Academy. Bang. Talk to you guys soon. I'm out of here.